he couldn't use any power tool. But he said he takes pictures of me and nobody else around. So the idea is that no matter what you use, electrical hand, the same element to make it, the machine is not going to make it any faster for you because wood is crazy.
Oh. But she's not on.
Oh, she said okay.
You want to get it out of this room.
Tell her she has to use the link to because I'm broadcasting right now.
In this chip. So I need to make a little more room. Well, people want to know. Oh, whoever.
So that said, it says I have 0 users. That's viewers. That's why.
Matter of fact, I didn't stick to the rain around here. Oh my goodness. Again.
So she says it broadcasting.
Yeah, that's all she needs to do right now. But she should be like, I don't know why she's not viewing it though.
It's just she's saying it.
Here it is. Well, one guy couldn't get a class, and then the other one I forgot in via this thing.
Yeah. Go forward. Why do? So what the foundation does. Cattle and reforestation.
Oh,
Reforestation is once a year. We try on the big island. That's why the picture back here. Kids that we took 17 years ago. They were from Napoli High School.
oh, okay.
With their chaperone, and there were 2 parents that went also. They went up with them. It shows you a lot of different things that we do. Apprenticeship programs, it can apply to women as well as men. In the old days, they used to say women was not allowed around afternoon when they were working on it. Well, my dad would say, since when? Women was an important part of our canoe culture. Whether they supply food to eat or they help or they're there. The only reason why women was sort of not allowed is when you have your problem.
Oh, our monthly visitor.
That is when, yeah, especially as a paddler, if you're paddling, and you're in the ocean.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And then the guy out there with his nose, he can smell you a mile away. Boy. But the idea is that, I was a coach at the new club, one side. And I told all the girls, I said, hey, I'm not telling you not to come to paddle, not to paddle if you have your period, I said, but just try to. They got the one I feel. They have the one I call a bullet. Use that one. you know what I'm talking about? Because that helps them really good. You know why? I found out I throw them in the water too. So it really closes you up. And it keeps you, the other one is kind of a bit sideways, So Well, I mean, I have to learn all of this stuff so I can work with the women as well as men. So, only very important more that I don't mind the women. As a fact, I have two apprentices who now can carve canoes. Uh, One of them is doing it. He's helping. That's the Kiayapahoa Canoe Club. And Huilanakila. That's out of Kahama Bay. Her dad coaches Huilanakila Canoe Club. And she works, she comes here and helps me sometimes, when she's not in college. Plays hooky sometimes. She wants to come here. I said, well, right now I don't have a program that, you can use, but when you coach come, that's where you can help. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
That, whatever you call it, or their, maybe, what do you call that, BA, bachelor.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have a grandson who goes to Linwood. He's going for his BA in wood carving
Oh, wow.
and stone carving.
Wow.
So he's supposed to be here today. I told him there was some girls coming. He goes, girls? He's a clown. But, I told him, come and help me with the canoe. He told me, Grandpa, too big. I said, what do you want? He loves making those. He loves working with small
Oh,
fish hooks, anything that's small. That's where all my straps in that container there he sits. But then he comes in and he hooks up one or two and takes it home and cuts it all up and makes all his little things and stuff like that. And he'll make things like this, a shell. Like that, and it'll make it look like a shell. That was cool. And coral, it's not cheap either.
right.
I don't know why it's so expensive. About 15 years ago, I could buy coral for $4.50 for board foot. Today, you know what it is? $25 a board.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's the lowest of the lowest. It's actually $35 a board foot. And then the ones with the nice curls running through it, all the beautiful figures, you're looking upwards of $100 a board foot.
Oh,
That's why a canoe like this, and you're looking at least, I charge $60,000. There are other buildings there inside the whole state, 85,000 and up.
wow.
And I can believe it. They all tell me, Uncle, Bobby, you're too cheap. I go, wow, what do you mean? But look at the canoes in the race. They're doing great.
Right.
But then they said,
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about how you got involved with what you're doing? Like how you became a master canoe
Well,
builder?
let me put it this way. I'm a graduate of Kamehameha School. When it used to be Kamehameha School for boys, Kamehameha School for girls, and Kamehameha Preparatory. That was from first to sixth grade during my time. By the time I graduated, the preparatory department went up to eighth grade. High school was 9 to 15. So when I graduated, take a guess.
Mm,
Or guess how young I am.
I would say maybe you graduated in the 50s.
Okay, that's one hint, yeah.
So let's see, that would make you in your 60s, 70s,
More in the 70s.
70s. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to
So,
say it
where
down
that
here.
fits me. Well, anyway, girls, I graduated in 1958. That makes me this year, I'm going to be 75 in 8th of September.
Oh, pretty soon. Oh, wow.
I'm 74 now.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was
Yeah, it's next week, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, and I have classmates, I'll be very honest with you, I have classmates that are in a wheelchair, or with canes, or crutches, and all ask me, Bob, how do you do it? I said, hey, find something.
Yeah, to
You guys
do.
are not doing anything. So that's why you Who are you? I went home. I still got a job at West Harbor because I went for the apprenticeship program back in 66, 67, 68. But I missed home and when I worked a little bit here and there. I also played music. While in school, we had a group, two brothers and myself, the Browns. You know, Brown,
No.
you know that song? That guy is a hard thing. You know, they're out of my relative. Well, he has two nephews that I played, three of us. We played music together in school. When we graduated, well, the one was the younger brother. So when we graduated, the older brother and I, and in the summer and whenever, well, the brother went home too. Because we all graduated, he didn't want to stay in Command. He left. We went home. So we formed a group in early 69. We called ourselves the Four Nuts. Coconut, walnut, peanut, chestnut. That's each one of us had a name. And we had a song to that, like long ago. I'm peanut, dum 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 dum. He's chestnut, dum 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 dum. He's walnut, and then he's coconut. We are the nuts. And walk off stage and take a break. That was us back then. But I continued in music, and along the way I got married in 1960 to a Portuguese girl from Ghana. I had 4 children with her, one girl, 3 boys. And my daughter, the oldest, she traveled my life music. And as additional kids came along, it's getting too expensive. So along the way, an entertainer is a good deal. The problems you can have. And for men, women. For women, men. So we made one thing to another, and we separated. Up to the end, I met my present wife. She and her sister came to a nightclub where we were staying, and well, I don't know. Now I just in the point, So we went out for a while, and her sister was this lady called People and Butterworth. You folks ever heard of Elio Butterworth?
No.
In the Jerry Lewis movie, she's a little how they go, Elio or Donna Butterworth. Her aunt, People on it, was a hula. She took her lesson for Bella Richard.
Okay.
Playboy. So people would say, she was Hawaiian and Noah, he's Howard. I said, yeah, well, they're both Howard. They're both German. But anyway, I met my wife, my second wife, and we got married. In the meantime, I was still playing music with a group called, we formed this group called the Echoes 5. In that group, we had one girl. Her name was Pauline. She went, after we broke up, maybe we were together about 6 years. We broke up. She went with a group called Seawind. They changed the name to Ox. And then she married
Yeah.
the drummer, which last name was Wilson. So they got married, and today her name is Pauline Wilson. She does a lot of nightclubbing with Carol Pye, with Jimmy Borges. She loves jazz, but she has a beautiful voice. She and I used to do all the duets.
Oh.
On one wedding song. She was Filipino, so whenever we had a Filipino luau or party, like we had quite a few, she and I would duet in 2 numbers. Dahil Tayo, and Ikaw. I know a lot of people that Ikaw. I never heard of that song.
Do you know those?
You know,
I know.
you ever heard this song? Ikaw ang ating pamilya. Ikaw ang tibok ng bibig. What is it in English? It's you are the and Dahil Tayo, Dahil Tayo. Bueno, siya na isip yung duet ko dahil sa home learning song. So anyway, and then with my 4 kids, and actually 6 total, I told myself, man, I'm gonna get myself a job. So in 1976, I started work at the Hyatt University. I retired from Hyatt 30 years ago. 2006. So, and then that's that. The picture in the brochure, the one in the middle, inside. The one on the bottom? No, the bottom.
Oh,
That is a racing canoe that my dad built in 1954. Not that what you see. It was 38 feet long back then. It was called Hilo Boy. Okay. Now, did I learn from him at the time? No. Because I was only about 12, 13 years old. No, 14. So I was more interested in going diving or go, fishing or do better thing than, So, but and at the meantime, I was attending to my mail. So when I come home during the summer, I would go and watch them what they do. But trying to do what they do, that's with manpower. I mean, So anyway, I remember seeing all that. Okay? And so for all that years, from the late 50s to about 1979, I had, and I paddled too. Back in the 50s, I also paddled. So all those years that I wasn't involved, which is my trailing son, and this is 15 years, so 21 years old. Anyway, my mom and I got married, and all those years, I was always Bob to him. And right on his 21st birthday, we were at a get together in Waikiki. So anyway, he goes to me like this. I walk over. Then there was a bunch of young men and women. And so he goes, oh, when are you supposed to meet my dad? 21 years old. He finally called me dad. And today he's 53, 52 years old.
wow.
And he called me dad. He changed his name. He was so old one time we wanted to adopt him. 18 years old is your after that you will go. So he went and did his name change. Changed everything on his certificate.
Wow.
So today, and he's a holy boy, broad, very nice, hazy. His daughter, I have a granddaughter from him. She's Hawaiian. She's the same thing, blonde, blue eyes, like a driver. People, when I used to put her in the car, they used to tell me, they didn't tell me. They would look at her, they would look at me, and I think in their mind it's going to go, David belongs to this guy. You know what I mean? And my wife walking up and they look at her and go, oh, okay. I live in California, but I do have the canoes anyway. 1979, this canoe came down so we could form a canoe club. Johnny was paddling for Kalaheo High School, and the coach was this Hawaiian boy. What his last name was Hanley. So my dad actually built 2 canoes. One was called Hilo Boy, this one, and the other one was Hilo Girl. The reason for the boy, girl, there were 2 logs that were in the forest up in Kulani, on the Big Island. boy with a bigger log, the girl with a smaller log. But there was some problem, so we had actually 5 logs. The superintendent of the Kulani, because of some that we wasn't sick, he gave these 5 logs to us, so to the club back then, with the stipulation that those logs were not to be used to make money. In other words, we couldn't sell a log, we couldn't lumber it, it had to be used for canoe. Well, somebody, we don't know who, we don't know if it was anybody, word got back to him that we were planning on selling 2 of the logs. And he came, talked to my dad, and he told my dad, if this got out, his, his neck is, the superintendent, because this was federal, Fulani prison back then was a federal prison. So anyway, he took back the 4 logs and left Hilo Boy to my dad. He told my dad, you worked so hard. So we were wondering where did Hilo Girl went. Well, my son was traveling for Color Hill. The coach happened to be scouting also for Kailua Canoe Club. And he told Johnny, said, oh, we have Hilo Girl, Kailua Canoe Club. So one thing led to the next. So Johnny came home, told us about it. We went down to the practice site, met this guy Kalai Henry, and then Kalai said, I would like to form my own club. So Ko'olau Canoe Club was formed in 1979 using the Kano Hilo Boy as our focal point. So in 1979, and Hilo Boy needed some work. Because what happened in Hilo in 1959, the boys back home took the canoe, went surfing, and broke the canoe. My dad was so angry. He told him, you guys are going to repair that canoe. None of them knew how. Well, the canoe sat for almost 20 years. 20 years. No work about it. So when I had asked about it, he said, well, the canoe is damaged. So we brought it down, we sent it down, went up to Kamehameha School. Then we had a problem up at Kamehameha. So finally ended up at my home, and we started working. My dad actually started it, but he told me, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. But I wasn't one good man, you know what I mean? But I learned, And in fact, I watched them and I started working. And about 1981, I think it was, we were working on the same canoe. We kept working on this canoe went through so much transformation that it was unbelievable. But what happened with all the transformation of the canoe, other canoe clubs saw. They asked, who did the work? Well, me and my dad. But then one day my father was working on the same canoe, and he sat down, and I looked down and I said, anything wrong? He goes, no, it's your turn. I said, me? I don't know anything about canoes. And I said, well, you come a long way. You'll find it. And I guess that's what happened. Started. And, I had a full-time job. Well, lucky in my full-time job, I was working graveyard shift. That's midnight to 8. So I could do canoe work in a day. If I worked daytime, no way should I do this. And all of this was done at my home. Our home was a rental home, but I converted it into a shop. I don't know how the owners, but eventually the owners sold us the place. At that time, we bought it for $150,000, and that was back in the 80s. And it's our home. We own it. It's not possible. On Kaneohe Bay Drive. So that's where all of this canoe work was done. And I did it one at a time. But then I get two sides of my home, you know. So I built a shed on the upside and started, so I had two sides of the house now. You know. And I've never stopped since at least 1980 till now. So the Kalaiva, the title, Kahuna Kalaiva, was know what it means? Kahuna Kalaiva. When I was told that you are a Kahuna Kalaiva, I said, Kahuna? You know, in the old days, Kahuna used to be, you know, like the one lady, one woman that a lot of old timers. You ever heard of her? Yolani?
Yeah.
Yolani Luahine?
Yeah.
Boy, she can look at you, but oh, you know, jitters away with her eyes, you know. And she looked at you. She was a wonderful lady. You know. But anyway, they told me, no, uncle. You are a kahuna. Kahuna is master. You're a master of what you do. You know. You know, after gave me that title, Allah. Lena Allah.
Oh, Heine.
Yeah. She kept telling me, she was, Uncle, you are a kahuna kalaiwa. Don't ever let that. I did their canoe when she was with Wanakila, and then she was in the surf club at Water Side, married. So then I began to visualize that I was starting to know almost every known canoe in existence, both racing canoes and other canoes. I have one canoe here that was built in 1896.
Oh, wow.
Built by my uncle.
Here? It's one of these four?
Yeah, it's a fishing sailing canoe. A 3-man. What happened, the family who owns it, they got it in Kona, not Minoli, a little bit more towards Honona side, in between there. And it was at their home, great grandparents' home, under the house. You know, in Kona in the old days, a lot of the homes were built off the ground. Maybe about year high, you know, because of the water. Some of it was really right near the beach, and when you get high tide or whatever, the water come under the house. You know, they didn't have indoor plumbing and all that, so everything was outhouse. And the bathroom or the shower was your tank. You know, big tank so that off the ground, and you get a hole underneath, put a ticket there, and you get the shower. Anyway, the canoe was there. The kids were playing under the house, and they came out and said, "Oh, Dad, hey, there's a canoe under the house." So they pulled it out and found that the canoe was intact, but termites.
Oh.
But the canoe is so thick that when I started working on it, I didn't have to cut through. So the inside was all good yet.
So you just had
I just went down with a router deep enough underneath where the termites ate away, and I just put a piece in.
Oh, wow. So can you talk a little bit about how you get, like, is this a brand new one you started, or is this a
brand
fixing?
New one. I have a brand new log over there that I'm hopefully trying to get to, but I keep getting all these canoes.
So these are,
okay, this canoe was built around 1972 in Kona by Tahitian. The reason why it came to me, it went every direction but straight. This is the bow. The bow went that way, about 8 to 10 inches. You know what is it called?
the stern.
Went the other way, in other words, it went this way, and then it rolled this. It went like this. Okay? So, what happened? The Tahitian carved this log, this canoe, in 8 months. That's too fast. That's way too fast. The wood is not that it's not dry. You know, you gotta let the fibers in the wood kind of like stretch out. You know. They cut, so the wood is all like tight here, and all of a sudden they start relaxing, and everything starts turning. Everything starts moving around, you know. So when I had this canoe from the 90s. This canoe belongs to a club in California. And but you know, the times have come where now a canoe like that, even this one, you're looking at, it's
So how long does it usually take for the gardens?
3 years. No, that's
So that's 3 years without doing any carving to it.
carving.
Oh,
That maybe 6, 10 years. When you get along. So actually, carving to get it ready, that's about 3 years. Now, all of these canoes, what I'm doing, I give them the time of 2.5 to 3 years. The reason why, because every piece of wood that I put in here is not the one from the log. So they all have different
oh yes.
aromatic.
Yeah, on Tuesday we learned about how you have to ask the plants and ask the thing if they want to be a part of something. You can't just make it work.
That's what I thought. When people come and do, even this guy, Fixler, he called me up with everything. Ollie, I'm having a hard time putting this patches canoe. The patch won't stay in. They use the best glue on the market, but it's too tough. It's too full away. So I told him, you know what? Take them out. Wait a little while. Maybe the other 2 pieces on each side or above and do it. Doesn't like that piece. So they're shoving them out.
Yeah.
He goes, huh? I said, remember, wood. I mean, wood is a living thing. Remember that. You know why? You can use the scraps, the everything for what? Plants. They help grow things. Cement, steel, iron. It does it. You know what I mean? So, and then that's why when people paddle in a coal canoe, I tell them, talk to the canoe. I'm only going to answer you back if you don't slap in the head. You know. But one time that because one of them even told me that this woman was a stroker coming across Molokai, and she said, all I keep hearing on the way over was like drumming in the canoe. When I heard though, so everybody said no. So I just told her, oh, I'm cool, just talking to you. And then the other thing, my canoe, the one in the brochure again, the canoe in the brochure, his new name is called Ho'ola. You know what Ho'ola means in English? What is Ho?
Causing to.
What is the word Ho by itself? New.
Oh,
Hola.
Ho'ola. New life.
Like, so Ho'ola means new life, born again, rebirth. You know what it means. So why was the canoe given that name after I redid it so many times? Even my dad told me, you change the name. You don't have to worry about it. So the last time I worked on it, just in my hand, I just felt like, you know, I'm putting new life into this canoe. And I even asked a Kahu, the minister who blessed us. Maybe you might have heard of him, Kahu Ke'ala Mahele. He was the University of Hawaii professor of the Hawaiian in religion.
Okay.
He asked me the same thing. And it was through him, he asked me God from Hawaii. So see, you know what he's blessing about. Well, when I was a head coach at Lanikai Canoe Club, Lanikai had a canoe that was also built by the Tahitian. And the name of the canoe is called Nokekula o Waihau. For some reason, Kahu told me, you know, he goes around the country, he doesn't want to be here. There's a strong sense of, we blessed the canoe, and after that we were done, he looked at me and he still doesn't want to be here. But he said, you know, with your presence, and he tells me, you can do this. I said, do what? What I do, I do. I'm not a minister. He goes, no. You don't need to be one. You have it. It's in you. And here. So today, that's what I do.
I just but I don't know all these chants that some people do.
Yeah.
That you don't need. For you, it's here. It's in you. Just my hand. Just my hand. Just touching the canoe. My hands on them, and the prayer that is Hawaiian and English, these things are coming from me. I don't broadcast it out. Everybody just they are quiet. And I tell them what I'm gonna do. The canoes before they go in the water. What is honey?
Yes.
The mano, the bao mano, which is the top piece there. I use a honey that, the piece that goes up like this.
In the front, right?
Because just remember that those are all that wood, whether it's core, doesn't matter what kind of wood, they're all living things.
Do you need to ask permission before you name your canoes? Because I know, like, they say you're not supposed to name your children Hawaiian names unless you have the permission.
Well, I will tell you something. I've always been told that you're not supposed to. Wait a minute. Why did you pick the name? Number one.
The why.
Why? Yeah. And then the minister, whether it's me, I'll look at it. 99% of the time, it's just fine. Because you picked it, you wanted it for a reason, and you tell me the reason. And when I do my inside, that's it. That's what it is. I come from here. No. I know. I've always been told that some people say, "Oh, no, can use this name." No. Wait. Why? It's always the why. Why did you want that name? What's the reason? You have to have a reason. You're not just going to pick something out of the blue. No.
Because, like, this one, the Kai Elua, like,
Yeah,
Kai
Kai
is
Elua.
water. So what is Elua?
Louis.
Elua is the Hawaiian number. A Kai
Yeah.
Elua is number 2.
Uh-huh.
And Kai is like it could be Kai can mean a lot of different. It can mean water. It can mean ocean. It can mean so it all depends. Like I'm not, like I said, too familiar with all Hawaiian names, but Elua I know it's a number. So that means it could be the second canoe. From the original. They could have been another one.
Oh, like it's another refurbished one or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
How many pieces of wood do you use to make this one?
How many
Like,
pieces?
Yeah, is it a long piece
No,
or is
it
it like
all
a
varies.
short one? Okay.
Glad you asked that.
So maybe take one piece of it. Oh, there's a phone.
Well, this canoe was extended. It was 40 feet long. They wanted a longer canoe. It was 45 feet. So I cut it in half and extended it. And now this here is pieces or patches that are going in. If you notice, they're not like all lined up. They have all of this. You zigzag it so that in an event that you go over a wave and come down on the other side, if all of this is in line, I'm gonna go like this. Just like you said. Okay? But if you make it like that way inside, then or you alternate, like zigzagging. Okay?
How do you fill these holes? Like,
Oh no, see this picture, this is all coming out. This, all the way through there. See?
Oh, you're
Oh,
cutting
okay.
I
that.
already have marks here. Okay? So the next piece that is going in here is really not here yet. It's this piece. This to here. Okay, see right here. The piece is going to fit right in here. And then this one here will be from right around here going that way. And then the piece comes through here. That's closed, then I can go here.
How long were you working on this?
This year.
Oh.
This
Since the
belongs-
beginning of this year?
This belongs to
Oh.
Uncle Sai Kalama. They're using Ho'ola right now as a loaner. See,
Oh.
this is the thing that I'm doing now. Because I have a canoe that clubs can use while they're under the test, Oh, this is it. And if you notice how thick, it is all going to be trimmed down to about this size.
I know this is a crazy question, but I don't see nails. Like, do you use glue to put it together?
The glue is a Hawaiian glue.
Oh, and it's
Yeah,
strong.
the glue name is called epoxy.
It's strong with water too. It doesn't like come apart.
You know, I used to get so tired of when the first one. So when people used to ask me, I just tell them, oh, you know, it's a Hawaiian glue. Oh, what's the name? Epoxy. Some of them you don't register right away, you know. And then they go, epoxy. Yeah, epoxy, you know. Mix it with sawdust. Yeah. I have a friend who does flooring. He does a lot of core flooring and all of that stuff, sanding. When he sands, he puts all the dust in it. And then that's what I use. I mix the epoxy with the sawdust. That's why it looks like this here. Yeah, like this here. And then you see this piece of wood right here? This is just as priceless, you know. See the grain running through here? But you can see the grain compared to some that look just plain. And then you're going to see some pieces in here that are nice, curled, wavy, but not so. I just planed all this down this morning before you first came. So all the sawdust and rubbish. So I try to leave all of this in here. The reason why when you put the glue on, it drips. You know, this rubbish here, after a while you can just glue more on it.
Oh, yeah. So can you mix woods? Can you mix woods when you're building, or if it's core, it has to be core?
Yeah.
If it's something else, it has to be something else?
Yeah.
So it's not ever a good idea to mix woods?
No. Not when, because these are all specified by regulation. All the core canoes have to be, and yet, you know, monkey pod and a wood called mimosa, ear pod, they look alike, you know. The only difference is core has a sweet, when you cut the wood just fresh, you can eat them.
Oh.
It's sweet. It's really sweet smell, you know. Real, mimosa, no, you don't want to, when you certain wood, you know, okay, some people will get allergic to core dust, you know. So if you are, you know, and you know how some of them have it, the skin. You know, the dust on your skin and you just get rash. You know, then if you do have that, then the best is to use that like a moisturizer, something like that. Skin thing, couple months to be honest, so you don't get bothered with that. Like me, I very seldom use respirator because I have screen in my nose.
His hair.
All your hair that goes inside there. So, you keep the dust from. No. When people come here, they work with me. I have the paper ones.
There's a picture of the kids in here. Yeah, was it kids? Do you have kids work on the canoes too?
Oh yeah.
I thought I saw
Yep.
kids.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You know what they use? This is why I have a lot of palm sanders. The palm sanders that they can handle. You know. But it gives them, and also have stuff like this.
I'm gonna come join you next time.
You should ask him. That, 'cause-
Okay, I got a bunch. One time I had 75 kids came.
Wow.
No, I had them exercise.
oh, homemade sanders.
I just did something.
Yeah.
What was your
Stapled on.
This is the sandpaper, used sandpaper from the belt.
oh,
But I keep afterwards, you know. I don't throw everything away. I keep as much as I can. So the machine work is already worn down, but for the kids when they come, this is what I do. At a canoe like this, I give them this, and I have them all stand on one thing. They think they're doing something. Yeah, they're doing something, but not really. Just so they have that experience. Then when I use the power tool, oh, you want to see some of that boy. I gotta hold their hands, the sander. Come back and I slowly I let them go. One kid I did that, the sander went.
Oh,
Well, when I released it, he thought he was supposed to release.
Oh.
I said, no. Then I can tell you, after they get used to it, like these couple of them, you don't want to let it go and let the next kid try. Hey. The next one. Oh, this is fun. And I put the light, the fine grit on the sander. The reason for that, they're not going to do anything. But they have the feel like they're standing. You know what I mean?
Oh, so this isn't coal? Or I don't know, it just says wood called alcohol.
Oh,
And then it says not coal wood.
no, this piece, no, this is cool. What happened was, somebody wrote this, and I saw that, but they also, see over here, it's too flat. It round, like, yeah.
Wood, yeah. Oh, and then
Yeah.
So it has to be a big wood like this and then sand it down.
That's why when I order about 2 inch thick. Now a board foot is 1 inch by 12 inch, 1 by 12 by 12. That's a board foot. So when you order two like 2 inches, that's double.
Yeah.
That piece of wood, you know. But because all of this here.
old fashioned way.
This is my dad's tool. He had this made back in around 1910, I think. I'm not sure. At the Ironworks in the Big Island. Had a foundry, so he had them made back then. And he learned the trade, from who? Not really a Hawaiian, from Japanese. He was a pucker wrench. My dad was a pucker wrench cowboy. He broke horses, okay? But he was also a carver. Okay? But there was a Japanese foreman who he took care of all the woodwork stuff at the ranch. So some of these tools, I have one in the van that was from the Japanese guy. And he was the one that showed my dad how to sharpen these things. And he used to sharpen these. I cannot, no matter how much I try. I try to get the Dremel and the nick. And somebody when hit a stone, I guess the hand file. You just sit there and
Oh my
Oh,
god.
wow.
and after that, he does this. Shave his hair off. And I do that, look, man, he just lie down. And this here too. This is a gouger. That's when you get in the corners, and this is for the floor, and a little bit flatter. And then people like that, it used to be a little longer. This was when it was still a log, and this handle was longer. They would pop it into the log like this, and then you would have two of them, and then two guys, and then they would roll the log over.
Oh.
But over time we had taken that point off. I was almost thinking of taking this off. So these are the tools that he used, and I use that tool. I use it for demonstration. And in fact, I had a group from Hawaii Elementary School. That boy was a sixth grader. This one. Yeah, this one. No, this one. No, this one. So I had them we had a log over there, Albizia log, that I had built a canoe out of. Okay? So I showed him how to swing the act. So I gave it to him. He started swinging. And I said, wow, who taught you how to swing like that? Quiet boy. You know, he doesn't say much. One of the classmates go, oh, he and his dad, they play golf. Well, no wonder the kid from the side of the canoe, and he's just like playing golf.
Oh. So was that the proper swing or not? No.
He was swinging. I mean, he was just chipping away. So I told him, all right, you have a job. Now you're going to teach your classmates how to swing that. And he did. I mean, you know, the kids know what. And, otherwise, when he swings, then you get to happen.
Yeah.
Right? He's supposed to, go through it. But this is my tools. I have about 6 of them. My dad always told me, he said, take one day a week and take care of your tools. Now, maybe he would have said sharpen your tools, but because I was using machines, the power. So what he meant was make sure the coils are all working condition, the machines are off, because once they go out, then you're stuck. So this is why I have at least 4 of each tool. One goes, I should have another one that I can still use. You see what I mean? Well, then send the other one to the shop or whatever. If I didn't have that, I couldn't be doing what I do.
Right.
So do you have like specific seasons when you can work on?
Season?
Yeah. Like
No, you work. The only to see why I like working here or out in the open like this, not in the shop, because you have to change your humidity, everything about what goes on around you change. So you can tell when you're working on a canoe how the wood reacts.
Oh.
And then that's why that's why it takes so long. Because right now it's very humid. And so that means this wood is going to be always damp. It's going to be, even if it's dry, but it's still you put your hand on them. It's not just warm, dry feeling. It's kind of damp. So, once all the grain has expanded and done all your things, then you basically, that's why this canoe I gave them 2 seasons. In other words, this past season and next season. So following year, 2017. But they come, Sunday they come. I mean, at least there's about 5 of them there, always come. Oh, they come there, they help me.
So who's this canoe?
They cut all of this, yeah. I show them what to do.
New Hope.
Oh, New Hope. New Hope. This year.
No, but can be anyone. Anyone who wants to, sometimes I have from Honolulu Pearl. Their canoe about 5 years ago broke down in Nanakuri. It got on a wave. If you ever been to Nanakuri and seen any other races down there, they go out and back in. But I mean, when you come back, if there's waves, you can get on the surf.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. It came down, and everybody bailed out except number 2, what the girl's school. She actually, what the famous word, she freaked out. She couldn't jump, she just hung on. Hung on to the gunwale of the canoe, and just, what she said, I just closed my eyes and just, boom, and then she was sitting on her seat, no more the bottom, but the side was there yet, and then people were running, and people were saying, because when some of them got there, she's sitting there and she went like, one of those, and then all here, all she had was spinning, and then like,
Aya, what was the question you were going to ask him? About the balance?
Oh, yeah. So, you're extending this canoe, and how are you gonna keep the balance, because, you're making it longer, so are you gonna put your hands in eyes?
Although I try to tell people that you can use modern technology, laser level, you like right now it's on its side, okay? So if I roll it up, then you can see the what we call a rockarano. We all, some canoe builders, they have a permanent thing. I try to tell them, I'm a builder. I'm a carver. In other words, I don't use heavy. I don't use everything is my eyes. And because I know the dimension, so I try to work within those dimensions. Okay. These are all racing canoes. So they have specs. They have to be made like what we call water lining, entry and release, all has to be protected. Okay, years ago, but in the 70s, when the canoe was really starting to take off, we as a group thought that we need to have spec because we wanted to see if we could get our canoe in the Olympics. The only way you can get the canoe or anything in the Olympics, especially in the water sport, they have to be spec. That's all of kayaks, before you get in, they get you on the scale, get your kayak, all has to be support. The kayak design has to be support. What they call how wide and how, entry and all of these are like that. Now, we would have lost everything if the committee had opened it up. Our Hawaiian canoes would be no more. You know what I mean? So the Hawaiian canoe is not so much the design, it's the color, so they have canoes out there right now that's 150 pounds.
And how heavy are these?
400.
Oh.
The reason why the 400 is the thinner, you can make them thin, but that means now you got a fiberglass to make it stronger.
Oh.
You know what I mean? But to leave it all wood,
Yeah.
that's why the floor of the canoe would be about no less than 3/4. The wall that you come up here, the very top here, probably about 3/8 on top here, because you're gonna have the gunnel, which is a piece that goes over the top. Okay? So that's about a half inch. So the whole thing will be, so big. But so that's a specific in these canoes. Why they're 400 pounds? Why right now they're at the limit of 45 feet long. The 45 feet is not the hull. It's from the two ends, two pieces that stick up like this. From there to there.
Oh.
But the hull itself can be 44. So in order to qualify for 45 foot canoe, that's why the thing is so straight up like that, it's like this. So 6 inches here, 6 inches there, you're 45.
That's
So what foolishness. We've been having some break-ins over here too. But anyway, so you just stop by here. How you doing? Okay. So I'll walk around with the actual Come. Yeah, and I wish I had Hawaii here because Hawaii has a lot of history. One of them, especially the most recent one, if you believe folklore, Hawaiian. Hawaii has a little design on the bow, right on the top. And years ago, the last time I did the canoe, something happened, and I couldn't. There was a hole, and I couldn't. I tried to put a piece in there, and the piece would pop. Little small piece. One day I was just sitting and looking at the canoe, and it hit me. It was something that I literally just forgot. Okay, Ho'ola is like, Ho'ola is a living per se. Dolphins love to run with the canoe, and I forgot about that. You don't know what an aomako is? My mother's aomako is a dolphin.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, I saw that. Mine is the owl, the white owl. Not the gray owl or not it's the white one. Very seldom, everybody else will see it, but not me. I saw it just once in my life. you know. But I've never, but others would tell me that. They say, oh, you just went out, turn on the roof, it's not there. You know, and then I come, did you folks say it? Yeah, it was there. Well, I don't see it now, you know. But, so on the bow of a hole, there's, you know, just like abstract painting. When somebody says, oh, that's a whale, and you look at it, it looks like somebody just threw a bunch of paint on a canvas and said it's a whale. You know, but you stand there and look at it long enough and imagine, you know, you'll see it. Yeah. So all I has, what I did was I carved a little core thing that looked like two eyes, that's not, and the back was like spread like this. And before that, it was just like swimming through the water. So the canoe has stripes, like core stripes, running from the bow all the way to the stern and out. About 8 years ago, 7 years ago, coming across Molokai, the men's group, they encountered 2 schools of dolphins going to Molokai. And one school, or one part, turned around and came back. Swam under the canoe and alongside the canoe. The paddlers couldn't paddle. But I'm in the escort boat watching them, and they're looking at me like, I try to yell at them, they're carrying you. That's why you're not stopped. And some of us still going, but the dolphins were swimming underneath, and it was actually moving them. You know? And that's what I'm, just go for a ride, you know. I mean, for about maybe half a minute, and I quickly as they came up, it was gone. You know? And the boys also said, what is that all about? Some of you know my mom, you know. So maybe she was just playing with you guys. I don't know. You know. Then my dad is a shark. And I see them in the ocean sometimes. And when I see them, I don't say anything. Not to the paddlers. Otherwise, I'll have people panicking. You know, in fact, one year, we don't use, I mean, we seldom have the whale sharks here. But when they do, you know, oh, it's awesome, it's beautiful. But I didn't know that. I thought it was a submarine. But it was down below, but when the sun was shining, you could see all that, the ripples like in the back, like our sub when it goes underwater, you know, that thing. So, but when I saw it, in fact, Nali said the captain of our escort, and we had a big escort, so we had like a tower on top of the cabin, so we was up there, you know. So he spoke to me and he goes, you don't say anything. Spoke to me because I had the girls ready for the next game. So I look over and go, and I look real good. Oh my goodness, that's a shot. But because the sun, you know, it's big like this, and it was longer than the canoe. Canoe is 45 feet, but I was thinking about 60, I think. But anyway, we went along, you know, and you guys know the Kealaula family from Buffalo, the son Brian. They developed the lifeguarding thing with the jet skis.
Yeah.
He happened to be out there that day. I saw him coming. He comes around. I wave at him. He waves back, and I go. I'm doing this. He goes, oh, you know. Then he goes. He goes around a canoe. You know, try not to excite those girls, so they didn't know what to do. So he comes around with his jet ski, and then he comes around again. But then when I looked, he just disappeared. So when we got in, I told the girls, no wonder we was in a canoe longer than usual. I was about to make a change. Yeah, so that's
But what did you do about the puka that you're trying to fill?
That's what I put this.
Oh, that you did the carving for that.
Carving
Oh,
of the,
okay.
Carving of the dolphin. Like I said, when I said that's a dolphin, you know, you gotta kind of look at it. Oh yeah, okay. And then there's the eyes and
The tail.
and the name, like I said, is Ho'ola. It used to be Hilo Boy. It was hard to call a canoe because you know every ship is called her, except if they named after a male. You know, like the Eisenhower, like aircraft carrier Eisenhower. It's kind of hard to call him her after him. So yeah, so when they renamed it to Ho'ola, it was still I have a hard time because people who remember the canoe as Hilo Boy, they'll tell me, "Where's Hilo Boy?" I said, "Oh, right there." Oh, okay. But you know, the canoe has canoe when you work on them, you know, it's like for me, it's I don't know how to put it, but I just love doing it. You know, it's actually it's my life. This canoe here, it belongs to a club in Kahana. If you folks know the Bernie family, that's their canoe. It was in bad shape. Oh my goodness. What I mean when I say bad, I mean, I don't know, it's really falling apart. Well, I put it back together, and they were supposed to be helping, but in a while. The other one that from 1896 is under there.
The smaller one?
Yeah. Come around, come. All patches. Yeah, I just went for the landmine, but I kind of cleaned it up a little bit, so not to worry. See all of those patches, all the whole bottom, really all the bottom was all termites.
Oh my god.
So what I've done is, you see that piece there? I'm just gonna put a block in there, because the termites are all, we already had it fumigated, yeah? And then this is what I meant right here. Okay, I didn't go through.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
all of the wood underneath is all good wood, and it's another inch and a quarter under there. This canoe was so thick. You know why? This canoe being in corner, where they came from, there's no sandy beach. It's either pebble like a pebble beach, or on the ladders to put logs across an inlet of maybe a bay,
Oh.
and then the canoe kind of slide them up.
Oh.
Okay? So the canoe had to be thick, had to be, otherwise the first boom, it just breaks. Like these here, these will never go on those. The first one they bump on, so they're gonna break. So this canoe, this one, like I said, that one that way, that end went this way, and then it rolls. So in order to get it, oh God, straight, see, this is part of the original right here. I had to cut, oh man, you know, this ground here, I had straps going that direction. Lucky, I don't have a concrete floor. I have to drive stakes into the ground, and then use this, what we call a come along, and then actually push the
Oh.
twist it and hold it, and let it sit like that for a while. But I had to cut. I had to, cut slices, you know. So finally, it's been like this for about 5 years now.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
this, you know, straight. So I'm slowly working on them. I have a guy who is about my age. But just tells me, "Oh, Bob, I want it. I said, "Well, get your call over here then." Well, so he comes once a week, and I let him do it while I work on that one. But after that canoe goes out, I get 2 more coming.
Oh my gosh.
One from Kauai and one from the Big Island. I know, I said, you know, there's other builders up there. See them? I said, no. Then you guys gonna have to wait, you know. Yeah, I'll wait.
Do you have more? I know you said you have the one apprentice. Do you have more than one? Or just that one?
They're doing it.
Oh.
They're working on something. But most of them have steady job.
Oh, so they can't do it full time.
That's the idea. And one of them who I really like, he's doing great. He works as a welder. That's,
Oh,
well,
oh yes,
does
that's
work
Monday
on
to
that,
Friday.
like just one at a time, you know. So I told him, hey, you know, I'm probably gonna stop maybe 25 years from now. He goes, okay, 25 years, I'll be what your age now. And that's about the time you can come over here and take over.
Wow,
That's my plan, you know, to be here another 25.
very good.
Yeah.
That's good. Need people thinking like that.
Yeah, but you know, and then core, you probably hear a story that core is hard to find, hard to get. It is because they put a stop on logging, like how they did before. And the log, and when the loggers came back in the 20s and the 30s, they literally cut everything down.
Clear.
So the pictures in there in the brochure, like the back one. See all this area back here.
Oh,
That was all core. That was all core in the old days. But now it's all open field. So it's those areas that we planted,
Mm.
you know. And that's up in a place called Umiko on the Hamakua coast side of the Big Island. And that's about the 4,500 foot level. Now core grows anywhere. If you get the lowland core down here, you get more seawater. You know, 'cause it's close to the ocean. But it's still, you know, and then the wood may be heavier, softer. You know. The weight of the wood depends on the way I look at it, color. The darker the core wood is, the heavier it is.
Hmm.
The lighter, like we call a blondie, the lighter the color, the lighter the wood. And that's the kind of log we sometimes keep our fingers. When somebody says, I have a log, please be a yellow. When you slab, when you cut one slab off, you can tell.
Also in the inside.
Well, the log is a log. You cannot tell because the bark looks just like that. Look like that monkey pot tree right there.
Okay.
So you cannot tell what you have until you
Open.
cut a slab off.
Yeah.
Even the end, when you look at that, you still don't know until you
Oh.
cut the length off. If you have the dark one, you're gonna
But do you
be a
still use
heavy
it?
canoe. And be a heavy canoe.
Oh, so you can use it just.
Yeah, so like core, and then core for canoes, you're looking. People say, oh, maybe 40, 50, 60 years. You might be able to build a canoe out of it, but you know you're pretty much right within where you want the logs for canoes. You're looking at 80 to 100 plus years. Big one. I mean, big one. One take say, in your hand, hold your hand. No, hold your hand. In your hand. One more, right inside there. You're looking at, that would be,
Wow.
big. Yeah. They have them, I've seen them. I've seen them even bigger than that, but that's at the base now. But still, you still have that width. By the time you get up at least 60 feet up, maybe it's 3 people.
Wow.
The 3 of you around the top. But it's big enough to make 2 canoes. Like little boy came out of the middle of the log. They slabbed it all 4 sides. And that's why the heart of the canoe, you can see on one boat, and you know the ring.
Oh,
That's what they call the heart. You know the ring. You can see almost right, right down the middle.
Can you make a canoe with just one log? Okay, because I know like the PZ, you're adding more to it, but that's
No,
because it's
just
big.
because of what I had to do.
Oh, okay.
You know,
but the base of it has to be a single log. It's usually a single log.
usually a single log. Like that one there. It's a single log, but because termites got through it, so instead of going through the log, like, because if you look the inside is just like, hey, it's just got carved off, but the outside is where you get all these patches.
Oh, I see.
For the
So if it's
termites.
not patched, it's just one solid piece. Yeah.
So if I were to plane that down to the thickness of this, then all the termites, all those patches would be getting destroyed.
Like the canoe in the back.
That's a log, and that's a
Oh, that on your
Yeah. one chick on the other side.
Yeah.
And
I've never seen him do it. It's like
It's
cold.
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, this is a log. Actually, it's on the other half of a canoe that I found back in the 90s.
Oh.
This was part of the payment for the canoe. And the reason why over here it's stuck like this, when we got the log, I mean the two logs, two pieces, they were like this. You know what I mean? You know, like this, like this.
Oh.
So we cut it this so we could have a design. So the other one is racing right now. We found that one back in '96. And launched it in, it was brushed in 2001. So they've been in exhibit. I've been around for 2015, about 12, 13 years. The club is called Keho, and the canoe name is Makane Kai. You know what Makane Kai means?
Ocean
is-
wind.
Makane is rough.
Rough. Oh.
Malia is calm. So
The
rough
balance.
water. Rough water.
Oh.
Or rough sea, rough ocean. Whatever. So this is the other half. This log, somebody came and offered me. I said, that's not enough. This log is curly. It's a curly log. The canoe,
Because
Makanikai.
it turns up there?
Hmm?
Because it has that.
Nope.
Okay.
It's
It doesn't have
just
to be
that-
curly.
It's just that the log itself was a curly core.
Type
That's
of
why
coal.
when we
Curly
built,
coal.
and when we built the canoe, the other half, we had a hard time because the curls rip. So if your tools are not sharp, it rip it. It'll tear the wood. You know. So well, I don't know. I mean, one day I think we go through about, so we're using a power planer, we go through about 2 blades.
Oh my.
But it has to be sharp. So this guy came, he offered me, and I said, no, I still want to build a canoe out of it. I gotta go and pick up pieces for him. And it's already kind of, it's about 4 inches thick. Yeah. And when we did this back in the 90s, when we had this shape, so when and then the club paid $7,000 for their canoe. That's back in the 90s. And this log was part payment, so it could have said about 10,000. Today, nope. This log alone by itself, you're looking at least $50,000 just because of the silicone. Not it's finished yet. When it's worked on and done, you're looking at 100 plus.
Oh my gosh.
And who is that gonna go to?
Hmm?
Is that going to someone or are you just working on it?
Well, if people will stop bringing their canoes for me to work on, then I can do this. It belongs to me. I mean, my partner and I back then, he passed on, but before he passed away, he said, you know what, Bob? You and I, we own this log. I give it to you. I said, you sure now? So you didn't get on back. Good friend, very good friend. In fact, he was a guy who actually got me into canoeing, into canoe, especially in the core planting. He showed me all the different per se how to plant.
Ayan.
Arrow. If you grab the seed and to get to a bottom. When you get out of high, that's a big trick.
Half yellow and half.
So, and so many things. And those are welcome anytime.
Okay.
You know, you know, just want to know more or even help with that work in any other canoes.
Okay.
So this is a learning center. It's called always run by the foundation, the Full Foundation. This area is a learning center.
Okay. Any last questions before we have to get going?
You can look at before you go too far, or I have what do you call that?
A diagram.
No, it's just fill up
Oh,
as to their day here.
oh, okay.
You know,
Oh, like a evaluation form.
Right.
Okay.
How
Yeah. Okay.
So that we keep so that we can look at it. If we see something in there that maybe we better ignore that.
Okay.
But everything that we've done so far, everybody is just pretty much what we're doing anyway.
Fantastic.
Yeah.